A CEO of a healthcare insurance company getting fatally shot in the early morning is not something that I had in my bingo card of 2024. A lot of stuff has been going on in the past several days, and I really need to talk about this. I've been looking forward to talk about this, as a matter of fact. We have a lot to discuss with the whole shooting of the healthcare CEO. We have a response from Andrew Witty that I really wanted to talk about. We have a few things to discuss before we get there. We need to talk about two things, okay? We need to talk about the CEO shooting incident itself. Just going to keep you up to speed on things. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the US healthcare system and how exactly it works and why people are really frustrated about the current system we have. And then finally, we're going to get to Andrew Witty's response on the whole situation and his whole meeting, which was apparently a leaked video that just surfaced on the internet. So let's get right into it. So about 5-6 days ago, as of the posting of this video, we have a man by the name of Brian Thompson. He was the CEO of United Healthcare, not to be confused with United Health Group, which is basically the parent company. He was in New York City. He was walking the streets at around like 7 o'clock in the morning near his hotel. He was supposed to go to like an investors meeting around that same morning, and an assailant from behind him had a gun, which by the way had like a silencer attached to it, and shot him dead in the back. The assailant would then run away from the scene on a bike, and he's currently at large at the moment. The NYPD is closing in on his trail apparently. There's a lot of articles talking about they don't know where he is, or they feel as if they're getting close, but they're not getting close. And this is probably the best photo they have of him. But again, there's just a lot going on, and not many things are confirmed as far as his whereabouts. Now, as far as the public goes, you have the NYPD that are saying like, hey, listen, if you guys have any information on this guy's whereabouts, let us know. No one's helping at all. Barely anybody is even helping the NYPD find this dude. A lot of people are really rooting for this guy. It's actually pretty crazy. It's almost giving the same energy as the submarine situation. You guys remember the Ocean Gate situation where like the CEO went in with like a bunch of rich people down in a submarine that was like half-assed, and then it imploded underwater when they were trying to visit like the Titanic or something like that. People are really giving that same energy. People are kind of giggling their ass off over the fact that a CEO is dead. But now this time it's a healthcare CEO, and boy are people having the biggest grin on their faces. Now, we also need to discuss how the healthcare system works in the United States. And this is more so for the people outside of the states that are watching this video, because I'm pretty sure you guys hear a lot of negative things about the healthcare system. I'm gonna break it down, or at least, give you the general idea of the United States healthcare system. So Americans get covered by healthcare in two ways: through your employer or privately. You just do your own research and you go to that healthcare company and you choose a plan and you get approved. Or you have an employer that gives you healthcare. It's part of the benefits of working with that company, but under the trade-off that you can't really control much with your healthcare that's been provided by your employer, but at least your employer pays for your healthcare because of course you work for the company and they're giving you this benefit. So you have people that are paying hundreds upon hundreds or even thousands upon thousands of dollars to have their medical expenses covered by said health insurance company. If you go through a life-saving treatment, or you have to go to the emergency room or a medical visit, you would expect the healthcare company to cover these expenses because these are essential to your survival. That makes sense because I need the medicine and I need to have this visit in order to survive from whatever medical ailment I'm going through. But then let's just say at another time in the future, I say, I'm a little insecure about my nose. Let's just say, for example, my nose. I don't like the way my nose look in my photos. I want to get a nose job. I go to my healthcare and I say, hey, can I get this covered? Healthcare will look at that request and say, we're not going to cover that because that's not a life-saving treatment. You don't really need to get a nose job. That sounds like a personal issue. You're going to foot that bill, not us. Now, again, that is understandable. Basically, from the grand scheme of things, your healthcare is supposed to cover things that are essential and necessary to your health, especially to your survival. And they're not really covering things that are cosmetic or experimental or frivolous. But then you start to hear stories on the internet where people share their experiences with healthcare companies denying them treatments, especially treatments that they really need, medication that they desperately need in order to survive, maybe for pain or to address a certain symptom or ailment that they're going through. You do have healthcare companies that are going to cut around corners if it means making profit, because at the end of the day, healthcare companies are for profit. Their goal is to make money. Their goal is to appease to shareholders. So you can basically have like a child, for instance, that has cancer and they have to go through chemotherapy. The health insurance can cover chemotherapy because you need chemotherapy for cancer. Okay, that's understandable. But now if the doctor says, okay, we're gonna give this child also like some painkillers and anesthesia and things like that, the health insurance will be like, okay, but did the child really need painkillers? Did the child really need to stay at the hospital for another day? I don't think we're going to cover that. You got your chemotherapy, that's fine, but you didn't really need to stay at the hospital for a whole extra day. So now you're seeing this bill and it's thousands of dollars, you can't afford it, so now you're like, shit, let's make an appeal and maybe they'll change their mind. With that said, you can make an appeal. It's not a final word. Like, you can fight that claim and say, or that denial and say like, hey, like, we really needed this. This is bullshit. You can talk with your doctor to advocate for you and they can provide like their professional advice on why said this child needed the painkillers or needed the anesthesia or some sort of treatment, but it's very burdensome and it takes a lot out of your day to go back and forth with a health insurance company and say, hey, you need to pay this. My child definitely needed this. This is why. It is mentally and emotionally taxing. And this is where things get really dark when it comes to the American healthcare system, because at the end of the day, it's all about the profits. And a lot of these profits come from the corpses of American policyholders. And that is the really fucked up part of it all. But I don't want to ramble on too much. I want to get to Andrew Witty's response on the whole situation. Again, Andrew Witty is the CEO of the parent company behind United Healthcare, which is known as United Health Group. Let's roll the clips on his response and we're going to have some comments or some feedback on it. Check it out.
I'm sure everybody has been disturbed by the amount of negative and in many cases vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment. And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers, and members first, as we always have done.
Oh God, corporate speak 101. Oh, we always put our customers and our policy holders and before everything else when it comes to our company. Let's be for real. Again, this healthcare industry is all about the money. If the money ain't mathin', if they lose out on their end, most cases, they are not going to foot your bill when it comes to getting the proper treatment that you need. Now, don't get me wrong, that isn't going to stop a doctor from giving you the treatment. Most cases, you worry about the payments later. But the reason why this is such a big issue is because you have a lot of Americans that refuse to go to hospitals to get the treatments that they need because they are afraid that they go in, they get the treatment, they come home, they're recovering, then suddenly they get a knock on the door, here's your medical bill, and they see 5-6 digits in their total balance that they owe to the hospital because their health insurance refuses to cover it for whatever fucking reason, whatever fucking math that they did that justifies them not covering that.
The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian.
All right, again, whatever. this is something that he needs to say. I think Andrew Witty is really choosing his words very carefully. From a CEO, he needs to be very careful because there are very important people that are watching this video. And if he says the wrong things, that's going to be really bad for the business, for the both United Healthcare and United Health Group. So I understand that he's choosing his words very carefully. From regular people like you and me, this is complete bullshit. We don't care what impact Brian Thompson had on the healthcare industry. If you wanted me to translate that for you real quick, this is a translation to what Andrew Witty really said. Brian Thompson has made the business a lot of money. He's been very innovative. He's been very creative with ways to generate profits for the company. He's been very exemplary. He's been like one of the top few guns in the healthcare industry. We had a good one in our team and he's gone. That's basically it. That's all they're saying. Yeah, he made us a lot of money and there are numbers to prove that. He has left a legacy. Nobody wants to hear that. No one gives a shit. Or at least people like us. Sure, maybe the shareholders and the investors might be interested in hearing that, but we honestly don't give a fuck. Whatever legacy Brian Thompson has left was at the expense of people that we love, people that we know, at the expense of our health. And we are getting fucked over at the end of the day just for Brian Thompson to climb up in the ranks, as well as like the well-known people in the healthcare industry that has made an impact of some sort. Like, what? What is wrong with you?
So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across the country.
So yeah, we're going to take some notes from what Brian Thompson has done for the company, and we're going to continuously do what we do. Yeah, let's double the industry average on claims denial rates by an insurance company in America by 32%, with the industry average being 16%. You're basically saying that for every 2 claims that you approve of, you deny 1 claim, which is wild. That is insane. You're basically denying 32 people out of 100 people. That is absolutely insane of a denial rate. And that denial rate, again, is making the company profit. It's making them money. They basically have this algorithm behind the scenes of some sort where it's like, hey, if the coverage or if the math ain't mathing to some extent, deny them, because we're not going to be the ones losing on this end of the bargain here. No, if we're losing money in this side, no, deny it. And this is what's going on. And it's absolutely criminal that we have the healthcare insurance industry that is building upon these denials. And mind you, within that percentage of denials, there are people who are dead. There are people who are struggling. There are people who are frantically trying to find solutions on what else they can do. Like, you have policyholders that are literally negotiating over their lives on, like, please, can I have this? Is there any way I can pay this and you could just pay that? Is there anything that I can do? And it's absolutely heartbreaking that we have people in the corporate level of like the health insurance industry that are saying like, yeah, it's just business as usual. It is insane and it's completely out of touch. Speaking of out of touch, let's roll this last clip.
I'd encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live. What we must do is focus on what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like United Health Group, and it needs people like Brian within it.
We do not need a United Healthcare Group, and we definitely don't need Brian Thompson at all. There are plenty of healthcare companies out there that you could choose from. You don't need United Healthcare. Let's be completely honest here. Again, corporate speak here, corporate lingo. You're saying that people on social media, people that are critical of this whole situation are out of touch, yada, yada, yada. Let me tell you something. The CEO of any company, I will tell you right now, should be the last people talking about being out of touch. Because I feel as if you was to take that same CEO or any CEO CEO that you can imagine, and you put them around like a family table or brought them at a regular outing, just chilling out and everything, they would not know how to talk to regular people like us. They would not. They don't see the world the way that we see things. They don't know how to carry a conversation like, say, you and I are. All they know is corporate speak. All they talk about is just business. They look at numbers. That's all they do. They look at numbers, they look at their board of members, and they figure out, okay, what can we do here? You know, what's trending and what's going on and why is this a thing? That's all they talk about. So if you're sitting here talking about, oh yeah, ignore all the social media backlash, let's just bury our hands in the sand with our asses up in the air and just ignore all that social media nonsense because they don't know the reality of things. Okay, we are the leaders of the healthcare industry. We're going to keep doing what we're doing because Americans rely on us every day for our policies and for our services. Bull fucking shit. This healthcare industry is absolutely fucked. It really is. Again, it is heart-wrenching when I go on social media or if I'm talking with my friends, my coworkers, and my relatives, and we're talking about the healthcare industry with what's been going on. And they're talking about their experiences on like, yeah, like I had a health insurance that denied, this medication. I went through excruciating pain. I don't know why they would deny something like that, but they did. And there was nothing that they could have done. And it's so messed up because when people get denied, the health insurance is winning at the end of the day. That's it. They're just winning. It's like, hey, it's money that we don't have to spend. We're not covering that. So yeah, we're keeping this money for ourselves. You deal with your problem because that sounds personal. Before we even end this video, there's been a lot of debates on this whole situation. Oh, it's terrible that you guys are celebrating the death of a CEO. He's a hardworking person just like everybody else and whatnot. But then you have people that are trying to throw a political spin into things. For some reason, they're trying to correlate the laughing and the celebration of a CEO of a healthcare company's death to like liberals or the left of some sort. I really don't understand it because when I look at social media feeds and look at people's comments and I go through forums, there's been many people on both sides of the political spectrum that have been equally fucked by the healthcare industry. Like, it doesn't matter if you're team blue or team red, if you're Democrat, Republican, left, right, liberal, conservative, everyone has been screwed over by the health insurance companies. So I don't understand why people are making this out to be a political issue. I'm pretty sure that you yourself know somebody, regardless of their political affiliation, that had some sort of problem with the health insurance industry. Go ahead and just talk to your peers about it, and you would be surprised. So please, I would strongly advise you don't feed into that, because at the end of the day, if we want to look at the reality of things, unlike what the CEO just mentioned, there are people that have very negative things to say about their healthcare insurance. There may be some that may be great, but there are others that have had very bad experiences with their own health insurance companies for a multitude of reasons. But other than that, that's really all I wanted to talk about. Again, this whole situation is just terrible all around. I'm pretty sure there isn't going to be a revolution of sort, but the message has definitely been sent, and people are pretty frustrated about the practices behind healthcare companies. That's about it. Peace.